Hi everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to take a Canix sales order and turn that into a Quickbooks Online Invoice. We've recently made a few updates to this integration, so even if you're familiar with the Canix QuickBooks Online integration, I'd recommend still checking out this video because you'll notice a few new things. Great. Okay, so the first thing that you'll need to do is go to Integrations and go down to QuickBooks Online. If you haven't already connected your QuickBooks account to Canix, you should do that. In this case, I've already connected it and we have a separate video on this. So I'll link that video in this description. And if you haven't already connected QuickBooks to Canix, that's how you should do it. Great, but you can know that your QuickBooks Online is connected to Canix because it'll say connected in here. So we can move on to the sales order aspect. So we're going to go to sales orders and active. So again, we have another video on how to actually create sales orders. If you are not familiar with this, you should watch that video. I'll be starting from some sales orders that are already created, but I'll also link those videos in the description if you don't know how to create a sales order on Canix. Cool. So the first thing that I want to point out to you on this sales order page is that we have this QuickBooks invoice column. So this is useful in showing you which invoices you've already transferred to QuickBooks. There'll be a check mark in there if you've already sent your sales order to QuickBooks. There will be nothing if you have not. As a reminder, you can always drag, drop, and recustomize your Canix view according to what you want to see. Because I'm right now working with QuickBooks, I drag this to be very close to my order number. Great, so let's go ahead and open up order number 0078. So you can see this is an order going to this customer, and we've added on a couple of products and added on some quantities in here. And I'm going to add on some prices as well. Cool, so let's go ahead and we see that our order is already saved. And we've added in the prices that we want to sell this at. So to send this invoice to QuickBooks, you're going to say Share Invoice, and then create QuickBooks Online Invoice. So that's going to open up a new tab, and you're going to see a screen that looks like this. Create Invoice. Okay, so what's happening on this screen? We see the Canix customer on the left-hand side here, and then we see the QuickBooks customer in here. So you might know that the Canix customers don't necessarily match the names of your QuickBooks customers. If you have the QuickBooks customer in here already that you'd like to match it to, go ahead and associate that. You'll only need to do this once. We'll save that association the next time you send an invoice from that customer, so you don't need to keep associating the two. If you don't have that customer existing in your account, you can say create QuickBooks customer, and let's create one called Melody, company name Melody Farms. We'll add in this customer's information here. Notes. Great. Awesome. We created that customer and it automatically fills in here. So that's in the cases where you do not have QuickBooks customers that match your Canix customers. Same thing goes for items. So again, Canix items might not necessarily be named the same thing as QuickBooks items. So in this case, we have this item called Melody-0703, and we have this QuickBooks item called Concrete. So we can say create QuickBooks item, and let's call this Melody item. Type is inventory, initial quantity on hand, let's say 100 as of this date. This is an asset. We want it to go to our sales of product income account and our cost of goods sold account. Now let's say create. Same thing, automatically pre-fills in here, and we say select, and those associations save. So the next time you do an invoice with that item on it, it will automatically fill in that QuickBooks item. For this item, let's just choose an existing QuickBooks item called gardening. Great. Okay, so you can email this invoice as you're creating this QuickBooks invoice. So let's send it to someone here. And we can also Add in payment terms if we don't already have that on our invoice. If we do, it'll pre-fill from the invoice. Okay, so there's a couple other things on this invoice that we can add in. Show package details. So on Canix invoices, you have your item name, and then you also have the specific packages that correspond to that item name. So when you say show package details, what that does is it shows you the specific packages that you are transferring, and it transfers that to the description on your QuickBooks invoice. Similarly, we can say show cultivation tax. So cultivation taxes, if you're in California, are often denoted as a separate line item in QuickBooks. So this adds in your cultivation tax as a new line item, and you can select your QuickBooks line item in here. We recommend creating one called cultivation tax. And we can call this non-inventory, and we want this to go into our billable expense income account, an expense account, let's say cost of goods sold. These two, it's really up to your accountant how you want to classify these in QuickBooks. In my case, I'm just calling this non-inventory. Great, and now we can associate cultivation taxes with this cultivation tax item in QuickBooks. Awesome. So everything looks good in here. We see the cultivation tax is being taken into account. Now we hit send.